Today is a very different kind of video. I have no notes, no scripts, no research, no nothing. Today we are trying holiday tamales from Del Taco. And that's it. I don't even have much of an intro. In 2020, I want to say there was a bunch of restaurants, fast food restaurants that had their holiday tamales. Wiener Schnitzel had some, Pollo Loco had some. I'm pretty sure if I had gone to the McDonald's, they maybe would have had some as well, but everyone had holiday tamales. And I thought this year everyone would continue to have holiday tamales, but the only place that has them is Del Taco. And sure, it advertises itself as like Mexican style food, so that would make sense. I would think that Taco Bell would also have holiday tamales, but they don't. So that's what we're doing today. And to make it a little more interesting than just me trying these tamales and letting you guys know if they're good or not, I recruited my sister and my mom to try them with me. We're all gonna give our rating to everything we try. We're gonna let you know based on a little bit of a criteria list that I made up. We're gonna talk about what the masa is like, what the flavors like, what the fillings like, what the cook on the tamales is like, and would we recommend / repurchase them. You could kind of imagine what our end result is, but we're doing it anyway. Also, after talking about our little list here, I asked both my mom and my sister to rate the tamales on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being atrocious, horrendous, gross, and 5 being the best thing ever. They're so good. To each tamal combination we tried. So let's get into a couple of notes about the tamales we're trying today. My sister was texting one of her coworkers that I roped her into trying these fast food tamales. My sister's coworker, who is white, is married to a half Mexican, half Salvadorian woman. He told her we were trying Del Taco tamales, and the text message he sent her said she turned away in disgust. So that's not very far off on this taste test. Okay, so before we get to that, I'm gonna read off the Del Taco menu here from my phone, their description on their tamales and all the tamal combinations that they have. So they have the regular corn husk tamal, and right off the top they get points for having tamales in a corn husk. It says, celebrate the holiday season with our tamales, filled with seasoned shredded pork, fire roasted salsa, stone ground corn masa, and individually hand wrapped the authentic way with real corn husk. Whoever wrote this did a good job of like selling you on the authenticity of the tamales. Let's see. So they have the regular corn husk. They also have 2 other variations. They got the red and green smothered tamales. The description, 2 shredded seasoned pork tamales topped with both zesty red and tangy green sauce, cool sour cream, and chopped cilantro. Why it has the sour cream and chopped cilantro, I will never know. And then the 3rd variation is the chili cheese smothered tamales. 2 seasoned shredded pork tamales topped with beef chili, fresh house grated cheddar cheese, and cool sour cream. Comfort food for this holiday season. Yikes. It's so funny because usually in any kind of video I do on this channel, I like to give you guys like a history lesson and walk you through like some kind of tradition or something you guys need to know. Usually it requires a lot of research and writing scripts down on my phone and stuff. And it's so funny because right before I hit record, I mentioned to my mom that I'm not doing a history lesson in this video, and out of curiosity she asked me, how far back do tamales go? And I'm like, some archaeologists say 2,500 years before Jesus Cristo, others go all the way back to 8,000 years before Jesus Cristo. And I made the joke, so we go back 8,000 years to our ancient ancestors who were stone grinding tamales and making them with love and care. Then the Spanish come over, and one of the positive things that happened was their cuisine was mixed with the cuisine that was already here from the native folks. So they went from just ground masa tamales to putting filling on them and maybe some toppings on them. And today we're eating fast food tamales from Del Taco. And my mom remarked, "Qué bajo hemos caído." And that's how I feel with that comment. Even though there isn't like an expertise class in tamal making or like Latin food making, I'm sure some white person has invented that and are the gatekeepers. But a lot of us know good food because it's what we've eaten our entire lives. And because a lot of our moms and our grandmas and maybe our dads and uncles and grandpas are also picky, we know what's good, we know what's bad. Everyone has their own preferences. So this is very much based on the preferences we have in tamal making. I'm very curious to know, you guys watching, if you guys actually like these tamales or if you agree with our findings later on in this video. We've tried tamales from a lot of different bakeries and restaurants that specialize or say they specialize in tamales. The place that we've gone to more recently that I really like their cheese and chili tamales is a place in Commerce, East LA called Sandra's, and they have great tamales. I know every time I go there's always a line out the door and people are trying to get those tamales because they're some of the best. I'm not a big fan in any place of meat tamales. I'll eat them because they're there and they're usually pretty good, but my thing is the cheese and chili tamales. I think those are the best ones. I am a weirdo though, that even though the tamal is fully cooked, my mom has gotten me into the habit of putting tamales like in a pan or in el comal and toasting them a little bit and then eating them. They do get a little drier, but I remedy that because I will put a salsa that she makes that's really good on top of it. And yes, this might negate this entire thing. I do put sour cream on them too. I mentioned that to my sister and she's like, gross. I'm sorry. I'm completely letting my slip show and showing how much of a white tina I am, but that's how I like it. And I'm sorry if this offends you, but it is what it is. I still think I know good tamales. We will see. Okay, so our criteria is judging the masa. You can't have good tamales without having a good masa. If you make your own tamales, you either have the maseca that you mix with water, or you go to a place like La Mapola and buy the tamal masa already made. If you're hardcore, you will do the whipping thing and whip in lard into it or some other kind of fat. Usually it's lard. I've heard people do butter, which interesting, but you usually do that and you put the little thing in the water and you have to see if it's good or not. I've never gone that extra step, but I know folks who do that. Their tamales tend to be lighter, fluffier, and better. But you have to start off with a good base of good masa. If you don't have good masa, you're gonna have a terrible tamal. The masa should be so good that if you have un tamal tontito, which means it has nothing inside, you should still be able to eat it and enjoy it like it was a tamal with filling in it, because the masa is so good. Speaking of filling, this is all personal preference. Mostly when you think of tamales, you think of pork or chicken tamales. I mentioned I love the cheese and chile ones, and those are super good. I know people make beef tamales, tamales de chivo. I know they put boiled eggs or olives or other things in there, and that's kind of strange, but if that's what you like, that's what you like. I'm not going to judge you too harshly. It should be a little moist, but not too runny, because then your whole tamal doesn't cook properly. It should have a lot of flavor, but not overpower the corn flavor of the masa. And it shouldn't spill out too much. You want it to spill out a little bit so you know what it is, but not too much. And of course, you always have your choice between green and red. Usually, what I've seen is chicken tamales are green, pork tamales are red. That's usually how it goes. That's like a standard thing. And it's all a thing of preference. The meat is always shredded. It's always pre-cooked because they're not long enough in the olla to cook all the way through. The place I mentioned that I go get tamales, Sandra's, they usually have their tamales that are pretty wet. The filling is pretty wet. While I like that, I know a lot of people won't like that. So things to keep in mind. The flavor. Flavor is a big thing. We already mentioned the masa has to have good flavor. The filling has to have good flavor, but also they have to go together. And let me give you an example. When I get cheese tamales, usually they put the poblano rajas in them, and I'm not a big fan of poblano peppers, but all together with the salsa and with the sour cream, they're good and I could eat them. Lately, I've seen that they put pickled jalapenos as the chile. At first it was weird, but now it's grown on me. It's not that weird and I enjoy it now, but that's like kind of thing that you would think doesn't go together. And at first it didn't go together, but now it does, I guess. And this is what I mean. It has to go together. If you wouldn't eat the filling without a tortilla, you probably shouldn't put it in a tamal. That's going to be my rule of thumb I'm making up right now. The last thing I'm going to mention before we get into the actual taste test is the cook on the tamales. When we've tried tamales before at El Pollo Loco, they have always tasted kind of raw, and the masa feels kind of raw, like it didn't cook all the way through. And tamales are one of these things that you have to cook all the way through the first time. One time we brought home tamales from Costco, the Del Monte tamales, and those are also some that they don't cook all the way through. I guess expecting if you put them in the oven to heat them up, they'll cook all the way through, but they still didn't. The cook on the tamal is very important. If you ever ate a tamal and it tasted raw or it tasted too mealy or too corny, it had a weird texture, it's usually that it wasn't cooked properly. These tamales have to be cooked properly. That makes for a tendency to overcook tamales, and yeah, they can make them super dry and stuff, but I think I prefer an overcooked tamal to an undercooked tamal. Undercooked tamales, you can't get over that raw flavor. But the best way to know if a tamal is cooked is take it out, unwrap it, and open it up, and you will see if it's cooked all the way through or not. I think that's it in terms of preamble before we get to the actual taste test. So here we go in the taste test. My sister will appear a little bit. You will only hear my mom, and I'll probably put up like subtitles so you can see what she's talking about. And it will be abundantly clear if we enjoyed these tamales or not. Okay, so we're gonna try the first tamal, and it's gonna be this bad boy that comes in a corn husk. I'm gonna give them points for doing a corn husk. So I'm gonna try it, my mom's gonna try it, and my sister's gonna try it, and from off screen, they're gonna let me know. I'm gonna ask them the questions and they're gonna let me know if they like it or not. So we're trying it. It's pork, right?
Yeah.
This is a pork tamal.
It's pork and red. It doesn't have much sauce. The meat's very dry.
The masa is super dry. Okay.
Both the meat and the masa.
It's super dry. Okay. Masa muy seca.
Very dry.
Very dry.
It crumbles.
Tiene mucho pimienta, mucho comino también.
Okay, hold on.
With okay, so
Estoy ahorcando de lo seco.
well, that's diet.
Ahí está. Well, drink some water, mom.
Okay, so I don't understand this thing. Hi. I don't understand this thing of like Mexican food places adding comino to everything. Like that's not a defining thing in our cuisine.
I blame Rachel Ray for that because she's always like, add some cumin. It gives it this spicy Latin Mexican thing. Yeah.
No, not add, not like sprinkle. No, it's like wham.
Yeah,
like,
she just throws it in
emerald.
there. Okay, so the flavor, too much comino, too peppery, or es el comino?
Comino.
Es el comino, okay.
Seco.
Well,
Y no sé, se me le falta un poquito de cocimiento.
Okay, so the cook on the tamal, el cocimiento, ¿lo sientes que a lo mejor le falta un poquito?
Sí, posiblemente unos 10 minutos más de cocimiento, posiblemente. Yo realmente no sé cuánto tiempo se deja.
Okay, no lo siento tan crudo, pero sí,
no está
sí
crudo.
se siente el oro.
No está
Disclaimer.
crudo, no está crudo.
It's not raw, but disclaimer, our mother likes toasty.
No, but
No,
like, no, this
Un
is,
tamal tiene que estar bien cocido.
okay, hold on.
Pretty well cooked. I mean, I wouldn't call it overcooked.
Se
Deja comer.
deja comer bien.
Okay, the filling, ¿cómo sentimos the filling, the pork filling? Too dry, okay.
Todo está muy seco.
Okay, would we repurchase this?
No.
Mom?
Pues solamente una emergencia fuerte.
Emergency, as in this is the only thing we have because everything else is closed. and they ran out of tacos at the Del Taco.
Hilarious. Okay, de el 1 al 5, ¿cuántas estrellas?
A 3.
Thank you.
Ya.
¿Un 3? Okay, un 3.
No es así como para tirarlo, no. Pero, pues, le hace falta. O le sobra.
Thank you. Okay. I think I also am gonna give it a 3. I might go down to a 2.5 because of how incredibly dry it is. It is so dry. And I was thinking of each one of us getting a tamal, but I'm glad my sister intervened and said, we're gonna get one tamal and divide it between the 3 of us. That was a good choice. So good job. All right. Next tamal. Okay, so we're on to the second one, and it's the red and the green sauce, and we're all gonna try it right now. So, Mama?
All right. First off, why does it have a cilantro? And
Because it has green sauce and it's
Porque le
Mexican.
pusieron salsa.
and what's with the white stuff?
I think that's the queso, yeah.
The queso? No, thank you.
Sigue el comino en su alta.
I think it got even stronger. The red sauce feels like they just dumped whatever they put into their hot sauce. Hold on. Whatever they put into their hot sauce packets, it feels like they just dumped it onto the red side of this tamal. The green side does feel like it has like the hatch chilies or something.
But I think that's just the salsa, the sauce.
The sauce.
Not.
Y
It's the same.
de qué
También is de puerco.
puerco.
It's the same tamal. They just spread stuff on it.
They just spread stuff on it. And
Yeah, they. It's like the concept of the huepurrito on tamal.
that's a good way to put it. Also, I feel like Mom said a little bit ago, they know these tamales are dry, so they're like, here's some wet stuff so you won't feel it is as dry. Also, I know that this style of the red and the green is something that they do in New Mexico. I've learned this because the mayor of Flavortown, Guy Fieri, on his seminal cooking show, like Julia Child and the art of French cooking is here. Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives is right underneath it. So when he went to New Mexico, he saw that Christmas, which is the red and the green sauce, is something that they do down there to their burritos. And the green sauce does have the hatch chili, and the red sauce is tomato based, but I don't think it's like this sauce on their burritos. Okay, the flavor. We know the masa is the same because it's the same as the first one. The flavor, ¿cómo nos gustó el sabor de los chiles?
Creo que tiene un poco menos de comino, ¿verdad, mija?
I think...
Pero es almost the
It's the
same.
I give it a 3.5 because the sauce stopped it from being so dry.
Okay. ¿Tu Mom?
Pues eso que dijo Gemma nomás.
Pero, ok, so nomás tiene poquito para que no esté tan seco. Y de el 1 al 5, un 3, ¿bajó?
También.
¿Un 3?
No,
Okay.
No bajó, es lo mismo.
Es lo mismo. Okay. So that's that one. Would we buy this again? Probably not.
No.
No, Mom?
Ya dijimos emergencia.
Emergencia. Okay, next tamal. So we're on the third tamal, the smothered in chili cheese, and it has some sour cream on here. My sister does not like the combination of ground beef or beef and cheese. She thinks it's very gross. As someone who has to go get hamburgers with her,
Pero no sé.
Kinda
tiene
frustrating.
esos pellejos, como que tiene pellejos.
I think es el queso. Okay, so Mom and I are trying it. ¿Y cómo se te figura este?
Lo mismo del año pasado.
I think in terms of flavor, the chili cheese might be a little bit of a better flavor, and it might mute a little bit of the comino flavor that's like super strong. It's still not great.
Y lo peor de todo es que quien haya empezado con el comino es mucha mala influencia porque cualquier cosa que veo uno que cocinan en la tele.
Comino. I'm telling you, it's Rachel Ray. Rachel Ray has poisoned us. So, how many stars do you give this one, even though you didn't try it?
Es que es lo mismo, no
Yeah,
es
it's the
necesario.
same thing. So how's the chili is the question.
The chili is it's fine chili flavor. I think I prefer Wiener Schnitzel.
Okay.
That's a weird comment, but I know
Well,
we're
no,
gonna-
it's just the bar isn't that high then. So, having not had it, I would still give it a 3.5 because I imagine that the sauce improves it
yeah.
by muting, like your mother said, the cumin.
I remember 2 years ago when we tried, because Wiener Schnitzel did tamales, I think in 2020. To add to the,
Or 2019, somewhere around there.
I think it was 2020 because it added to the enormous dumpster fire that was 2020.
True that.
And those were okay. I think the tamal, from memory, wasn't great, but the chili cheese is fine. I think it has dipped in quality. Who knows? So, ¿cuántas estrellas le diste? ¿3 estrellas? Okay.
No mejora los aditivos que le ponen, no mejora, porque nosotros no queremos un tamal que lo adornen mucho, nosotros queremos una calidad de tamal.
I would agree with that, yes.
De eso estamos hablando, no qué tanto le pusieron, porque gente va a decir, oh, esto está mucho mejor, porque tiene crema, tiene salsa, tiene cilantro. Please, cosas que no combinan.
People, please. I think that's the final word for this round of tasting tamales. People, please.
People, please.
Oh, police.
For my final thoughts, I want to give a big thank you to my mom, who was a good sport in trying these weird tamales. I also want to thank my sister, who was also a good sport in trying these tamales. Also for being the producer and sponsor of this video. She bought us dinner tonight, and I want to thank her very much for that. And as far as my final thoughts go, stick to the tamales you buy from ladies on the street, in the laundromat, in parking lots, next to restaurants, in restaurants. If you're out in East LA like I am, there's quite a few tamal places that are very good, and give them your business. I don't think you need to give Del Taco your tamal business. Honestly, I would not go back for tamales. They were not great. Like my mom stated, they're fine in an emergency. If you have a kind of emergency where you need a tamal, it's fine. If you're going there because you're like, yes, tamales, no, I'm sorry, but no. So I want to thank my real life blood family, and I want to thank you guys, my internet YouTube family, for watching all the videos, for being with me for another year. We're at the end of the year. We made it. I thank you so much for watching the videos, for liking them, for commenting on them, for maybe sharing them somewhere else. Everything you guys do, I thank you so very much. I thought it'd be fun to do a more loose and fun video after all the videos I do that require a lot of work, a lot of research, a lot of editing, a lot of writing. There's just so much work. And I wish I could get to all the requests and all the stuff, but I'm one person. But I appreciate everyone who watches, everyone who subscribes. Even if you don't subscribe, but you watch, I thank you too. And have wonderful holidays. Have a wonderful new year. I'll see you next year. Here's hoping 2023 finally gets a little better. I think we've earned it. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, salud, mi familia. Between Del Taco and Taco Bell, I think I prefer Taco Bell. Yeah, I'm one of those Latinos who likes eating at Taco Bell. I don't know what to tell you.